Hello, this is Elliot, and I'm showing the screen that we use when we read water meters using the Trimble T10 tablet. So ideally what happens is we get everything ready the day before we read. Badger has told me that things work better if the tablet has been sitting there for a day because their computer systems sometimes can be a little glitchy and the overnight rest helps. But I have successfully read meters without letting it sit for a day. But in my other tutorial, I showed how to set up the reads. And now when you go, what you do is you get in your car and you want to still be in a wireless area and turn on your tablet after you've set up the connections. So the connections are, you've got the tablet, and you've also got attached to it the receiver that receives messages from the CE endpoints that we're going to read as you drive around. And then you have the antenna going from the receiver, and that antenna sits on top of your car with the magnet hooking it onto the roof of your car. So get that all set up, and then go to OMR, which is the site we're at right here. You're going to go to that site on the tablet in the car before you drive around while you're sitting in the car within a wireless area. And this site is orionmobileread.beaconama.net. So that's Orion Mobile Read, all one word, orionmobileread.beaconama.net. And you'll get to this site here, and it should look something like what you see here. This is a fairly flexible website. You can kind of rearrange the windows the way you like. So I'm going to go set up a few things here under annotate. I'm going to use a spotlight so you can see the cursor. Let's look at these two windows here. There's actually three windows possible here. So if you look on the upper right, there's a few different cursors here, a few different symbols. This symbol here, okay, I'll use an arrow to show you. This particular symbol right here is a, when you click on it, you get some choices. It changes the window arrangement. So now you can see that there's three windows, and if you click it again, you'll get three columns, and you click it again, you're back to the first choice with two windows, okay? And typically you might just want two windows. So I'm gonna click it back to three and look at the three that you have here. On the right is the list of meters that you're going to read, and they should all be marked as assigned. So if you look at this right window here, which is your main window, there's this list of all the meters you're going to read, and they should all say assigned in the second column, which is called status column. You can rearrange columns too. You can get rid of them, make them bigger, wider. You can do all kinds of stuff. But I usually have the route on the left and the status is the second one. And it says assigned for each of these. That means they're ready to be read. On the left side, what you're seeing on the upper part is a map, of course. And in the map, if your GPS is working fine, which doesn't always, you'll see blue dots that represent meters that are going to be read. And if you look at the legend over here, right here, I'll get my little, having fun with this arrow. If you look at the legend over here, you'll see all the different choices, but more typically you've got assigned, and then what happens is when they're completed, you get this green dot here, I believe. Typically they just kind of disappear. The important thing is the blue dot here that are assigned. Highlight. And then this third window down here on the bottom left, if you ever needed it, is when you look at one particular address. So I'm going to go over here to 453 Abbey Street and click on it. And now you'll see that particular address, okay? And you may use that later on. For now, we're going to get rid of that. So there's these little arrows and the borders between the windows, and you can use them to change the size of the windows. So I'm going to take this window on the lower left, and I'm going to run it down so that I really don't have much of that window because I don't use that one so much. And up here, I'm going to make this map smaller for now. And we can look at all these different things here. Now, this green arrow here implies that we're ready, but when you get in the car and you're all connected up and ready to go, you would click on the green arrow and there should be the letter CE show up. So I got a little message, you click on that, and right now CE is not showing up. The reason is I'm in my office now. I don't have the receiver for reading meters connected to this desktop computer I'm using. But when you connect when you get all set up properly in your car with the receiver, you should be able to get the letter CE show up above, and it can be in green or red. Once it's green, you're ready to read meters. In fact, you probably will already start reading meters without doing anything. If it's red, something's wrong and you have to kind of check your setup. You may even have to call Badger for help if things are not set up correctly. But there's no CE here at all because my computer is not connected to the receiver that you use typically when you drive around and read meters. And what happens is as you read over here on this list of things to read, they will disappear as they get read. So if you read a meter on 453 Abbey Street, that will disappear from the list. So your list will get shorter as you drive around town and read meters. And when you're all done, there should be nothing on the right. They should all have disappeared. Now, while you're here, you can look at certain things while you're reading. For example, if you in the route section here, it shows route 025. But if I go down further, eventually you'll see other route numbers, like 150, okay? If you type 150 in this here, it limits what's showing to what you typed. So if you only want to look at route 150, if you type 150, it will show you all the meters in the 150 route. And this is helpful because you can drive around the 150 zone of the city, and it helps you understand which meters you may have missed by driving too quickly through a certain area. So it's something to try out and use. You don't have to. You can drive the whole town and not type any route numbers or anything if you want. I found it is helpful. When you leave from one zone to another, it's kind of nice to think that you finished the entire zone. So you're going to do 450. And here you see all these Kennedy Drive and all these that are over in zone 450. And then if you get rid of this number altogether, you'll see everything that's currently assigned that has not been read yet. So I find that helpful. You can use these other fields here if you want to search for something in particular. Now, once in a while, you have to manually enter information. And that's where you use this window. And the way you do that, you go to this window, and then I believe there's a check mark that you click on, and then you can go in and manually enter the reading. In other words, if there's a particular meter that's not working right, and the meter itself's working, but the transmitter's not working, so you can go, get out of your car, take your hook, open the box, look in, and see what the number is, write it down, and take it back to the tablet, and go into this, and there's a way to put the information into this particular entry for this particular address. I think if you double click on the address in the right list, no, it's not doing it for me right now. But there should be a way to enter it. And when you do, I find that I enter it in CCF. And it seems to expect you to write it in a full meter number, like 1,250.23 cubic feet. But I find that you need to write it in CCF, so that you would drop off the last 3 digits. You know, the number that we will use for billing, it seems to be the right number to put in there. It seems to expect this bigger number, and then it says, "You sure you want to do it?" It kind of catches you, and you just say, "Yes, go ahead and do it." So you should enter it in CCF if you are manually entering a number. But most of the time, I drive around with only the 2 windows showing, and like I say, you can move the windows around to suit your heart's content. When you're done, if you go back to the office and you don't do anything, overnight, all of this information goes into the cloud. As long as you're connected to the internet, it will automatically go into the cloud and the readings will get put into their places. Typically at the end, when you're completely finished, there is at the top here a black eject button, and that really finalizes everything. You don't actually have to do this, but I usually do, and then I'm completely done. In some systems, people leave a few things to make notes on particular meters that have certain issues. And when you click the black one, you're kind of finishing all of that. Once you're done with that, you can't go back and redo stuff. But I don't really use it that way. I just kind of just finish up with the eject button here. But it's part of the note that if you don't do the eject, the information you got will still go up into each of those meters will get, the cloud will have the information that you got. And there's no undoing it. I mean, if a meter reading for your house is 100 when you read at the end of the month last month. And then in the middle of the month for fun, you just try out reading, and it's now 120. 120 is what will be in there, the latest thing that happened, whether we were just pretend reading or actually doing the month-end reading. That information will go in there. You can't undo that. Let's see if there's anything else I need to say about all of this. Up in the upper right, there is a upper right, there's a symbol, looks like a piece of paper with a little fold in the corner. If you click on it, I think it will change to a globe. Sometimes it'll change to a globe. Right now it's not doing it for me, so I'm not going to worry about that. And I believe that's all I have to say right now. The important thing to remember is that when you do see the CE letters up above, they need to be there, and if they're red, then you need to click on that CE, and it should turn to green, meaning you're ready to read. And if you can't get it, a green 2-letter CE, it's kind of like this green arrow up here, but it's in that place, but it's not an arrow. It's the letter CE, classic endpoint, meaning classic endpoints. It needs to be green, and then you're really reading. And you'll notice, because you'll immediately be driving around and you'll hear the little beep beep noises that it makes as it reads individual meters. If that turns red or is not there at all, then you have something wrong with the setup, and you